Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of TBR. I'm George Binns, and we're continuing the discussion with the members of the local WOAMTEC, Women on a Mission to Earn Commission. And this evening we're going to learn a little bit about eating and growing healthy foods. And to help us understand it, we have Lolli Neeson. Welcome, Lolli.
Thank you.
So, I guess the first question is, what makes food healthy?
That's a loaded question,
Yeah.
right?
But hey, that's the name of the game, right?
There's a lot of confusion out there, but it really is simple. We have our carbs, our fats, our proteins, and then and that's our macronutrition.
Yeah.
And then we have the micronutrition that comes from whole foods, fruits and vegetables, that type of thing. Mm-hmm.
What makes it micro as opposed?
It's these, what's so fascinating, this world to me, I never understood this. When I went to culinary school, I learned a lot about you get the freshest food from a taste and a presentation point of view, but I never learned this from a nutritional point of view. So when I started to really understand, that is really what we're missing. Micronutrients are plant nutrients. Phytos means plants. Mm-hmm. And they have thousands and thousands of small micronutrients that feed our cell. And that's what's really, really important because those are the antioxidants. So that's really what, when you think about our body as a car, you've got the gas, right, that runs the car, yeah. And then you've got the oil. And you can imagine that if you didn't put oil in your car, yeah. Over time it would break down. Yeah. And that's really what happens with our bodies. And that's why I'm so excited to be here to just talk about fruits and vegetables and plants, because that really is the missing link. In fact, only 1 in 10 Americans today get the recommended amounts of servings of fruits and vegetables.
Well, that gets to be somewhat of a confusing predicament because everybody and his brother's got a diet, and this one's better than that one, and they all make these claims, but how do you sort it out, and what's really the best from your perspective? Yeah. What's the best way to do it?
Yep. Well, there is no best way. There's certain principles that are important for everybody. There's no contraindication. Nobody will tell you don't eat more fruits and vegetables, no matter what you're doing, whether you're paleo or keto or, you're on a vegan, a vegetarian, whatever diet that you're on. And, everybody is a little bit different, right? Our bodies are different in what we need and, the foods that we respond to. But what's really clear is that our body needs these phytos, and we don't get enough of a spectrum and a variety of them. And so that's where, when I started really learning about nutrition and the micro world, I was really excited. And so much research about the microbiome and brain health has come out. And, a lot of our immune systems, 70% of our immune system is in our gut. Yeah. And so, this gut-brain connection is really, really important, and particularly for children today, with the mental health and all of that, really eating well is really important, but people just can't do it. It's really difficult.
So how do you get over this, and how do you get involved?
Yeah. Well,
if I go down to the local market, what should I be looking for?
Yep. That's a great question. So I always tell people, try to stay in the perimeter of the market. Really think about this. When you go into a supermarket, just shop mostly the perimeter, because that is where all the healthier foods are. around the perimeter of the grocery store. You know, when you start going in the middle aisles of a grocery store, you know, those are things that a caveman would not recognize. You know, that's where all the processed foods are, the additives, the preservatives, you know, all those things that really aren't serving our health. So that would be my advice when you go to the grocery store, is that you're really looking for, you know, lean meats, seafood, the fruits and vegetables, the whole grains, you know, things that you would find in the perimeter, and stay out of the middle.
Yeah. So you've got a business that you run. What do you contribute to this whole morass of how do you get healthy and eat right? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think I help people navigate a very confusing system that is in our world, that really, unfortunately, is designed to undermine people's innate intelligence. You know, their gut feelings about things. You know, if you have a gut feeling about something, you're probably right.
Yeah.
And because of the advertising world that we live in, you know, it particularly for parents, it really undermines what parents are trying to do in, you know, teaching their kids about healthy eating and healthy foods. You know, you can control your kids and what they're eating in the home, but once they go off to school, they go to friends' houses, they get out in the world, you know, there's a junk food culture. And it seems that, you know, kids today live more on what I call a birthday party diet. You know, there's just all of these very high sugary, high fat foods everywhere.
Well, one of the interesting things that popped up a while back was they started looking into fast foods. And it turns out for somebody on a limited financial situation, you can get more calories per dollar in the fast food business with the burgers and the pizzas and all the similar kind of stuff. So there's a tendency that, it might be the right thing to do to buy food from the perimeter, but per dollar of what you're getting, you've got to get calories.
Yeah.
So I think that drives people to what's the most effective or the cheapest way to get calories. And you can't beat a greasy burger for calories.
That's
what
right.
It comes down to.
Yeah.
Because one of the ones that surprised me when they were talking about the Iditarod race up in Alaska, and it's 30 days you're on the road, and you have to bring all your food with you. So you ask them, what do you bring? Lots of butter. And they survive on just calories. So how do you balance that? And like you've got your display here of one of your little products, you know, and the screen behind us is showing the stuff you grow. How do you get into that kind of environment?
Yeah, well, I answer two questions. One, my answer to that I've really learned is that, you know, you pay now or you pay later, because you are going to, if we eat all of these processed foods that we are eating with this junk food diet, which is the standard American diet, you will pay later in healthcare costs. And what we are seeing more and more now is that these itises, these inflammatory chronic illnesses, are starting at younger and younger ages. I mean, we didn't hear about these diseases at all a generation ago, and now you're seeing them in younger and younger people. So, you know, disease starts in childhood, but it manifests itself in adulthood. So taking simple steps and education and learning how to eat, you know, instead of the chips, buy more whole grains and whole foods. You know, you really can feed a family. I mean, we are so, we eat way too much meat in this country. If we don't need as much meat. If we pulled back on some of that and added in more whole grains, whole foods, fruits and vegetables, you absolutely would see a huge difference in our healthcare costs and the health in this country. And I'm really concerned about kids, and because this generation is the first generation that will not live as long as their parents. And that's really scary.
Yeah, that's one of the things that showed up recently, that ever since the COVID pandemic, life expectancies have dropped a little bit. Nothing dramatic, but it's dropping when it's been growing ever since, because I can remember, for me, white male born in 1937, my life expectancy was 59 years. And nowadays, somebody in a similar situation, they're looking at 70, almost 80 years of life expectancy. Mm-hmm. So there's been a tremendous improvement for lots of reasons. Mm-hmm. And to have it all of a sudden plateau and start to drop off, like I say, that's a little scary. Mm-hmm. And a little concerning.
Right. And Americans are living longer, but I will argue that they're not living healthier. Mm-hmm. We are on more medications for chronic illnesses than we have ever been before. And so the whole idea with aging well and aging gracefully is to move through your life and in your older years not to have these chronic illnesses and to be on multiple medications. Mm-hmm. And that's what eating well will do over time.
Well, part of your message is grow your own stuff, so that you're assured that
grow for pennies.
Yeah, that you're getting the good stuff because you're making it yourself.
Exactly.
And I think you were telling me before that you have your own greenhouse.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. And I started to get onto this because I started to realize that our food, particularly in New England, we're at the end of the tailpipe. We don't grow our own food in New England in the wintertime. In the summertime, we've got farmers markets and food is more accessible. But most of the year, our food travels an average of 1,500 miles from where it's grown, and when it's picked green, so it doesn't have that opportunity to have that full genetic expression because it's picked early. And that's where a lot of the nutrition happens at the end of that maturation. Yeah. And then, it's shipped across the country and it lands in your grocery store. So that fruit or vegetable could have been picked 10 days, 2 weeks prior to your actually buying it in the grocery store. And, they have to grow food to look pretty.
Oh, yeah, that was what doesn't sell.
Yes, exactly. So they have to gas things and do things to the food, from the farm when you get them. So I got into this thinking, all right, well, I'm going to start growing my own produce, and then at least I can control some of that food in the wintertime. And so the company that I work with, the Juice Plus company, came out with a wonderful aeroponic vertical growing tower called a tower garden. Mm-hmm. And the first year that we started to grow this, about 11 years ago, my husband is a soil gardener through and through. Oh, okay. And he was a little suspect of growing this way, when they first came out. But I said, come on, we're gonna try this. And the first year we grew outside, and it grew so well. We were able to grow so many different variety of plants that we brought it inside after Christmas and started growing inside that first year in our living room with lights. And so and we still do it today. And so when we moved, we really got on to growing our own food in a big way and decided to build a greenhouse we moved and renovated a home and added a greenhouse onto it.
Well, one of the things that's surprising is every so often, especially if you see articles about farming in Europe, Netherlands especially, they're doing an awful lot of hydroponic growing indoors all year round, and it's a factory operation where they have the lights, and one of the other things is they add carbon dioxide so the plants will grow faster, and they don't have any soil at all. It's all with liquids.
Yeah, it is.
Is that what your system is, all liquids?
Yeah, yes, it is, and it is.
So you're hydroponic.
Yep, it is hydroponics. Our system is called aeroponics because the roots of the plant are actually not always sitting in water. They're more being aerated because you have the base of the tower that has 20 gallons of water in it, and then it's got a pump, and then every 15 minutes on the hour, the pump shoots up like a percolator, shoots up the water through the center spine and then rains down on the plants. So they're getting aerated, not always sitting in water. So here's an example of one right here, and I'd just love to show kind of this one. This is a lettuce plant that I took out of my tower garden this morning, and you can see the roots of the plants. It's just amazing how fast they grow. And this is one head of lettuce that has grown in about, I would say, probably 2 to 3 months time. But within 6 weeks, you can have a seedling that's grown lettuce and be eating it.
Yeah.
And I love it because you don't waste food. You know, so much of the time people buy food in the grocery store and then it sits in the vegetable bin, right, and gets wasted. Whereas this way, you just go around and just clip your salad, clip around the plant, and just with your salad bowl, and you just take what you need. And so you're not wasting anything, and you're not wasting water because it's a closed loop system. So you're using 10% of the water of a traditional soil garden. So there's a place for both, I think. You know, that conversation about how we're going to feed the world and, you know, eat more of these plants affordably and sustainably. That the hydroponics is part of the conversation, you know, not to take away anything from soil gardening, but we are running out of our soil resources and our topsoil and our phosphorus. So this is a way to complement that soil growing.
Well, do you have to fertilize the water?
Yes, there is a mineral salts fertilizer that you use that's for, you know, growing plants for human consumption.
Yeah, I've seen articles where they're talking about some of the problems with the big cities, where they are having excess buildings that used to be factories, and the whole idea is to take one of these factories in the neighborhood and turn it into a food factory, and start growing stuff with lights. And what do you use, fluorescent lights?
Yeah, LED.
LEDs?
Yeah, LED lights. Yeah.
Do you have to get special frequencies or special colors or anything?
No, you don't. Well, yes, it's the lights that we use are a blue spectrum. If you want to grow tomatoes inside, you would do more of a red spectrum. But the lights that come with our tower garden really are for a myriad of different plants that you would grow. And anything that grows above ground will grow in a tower garden. So you can have, you know, all your herbs and your lettuces and all kinds of different plants with this blue spectrum of light. Works very well.
So how do you start one of these things? You got a bunch of seeds. What do you?
Yep, you have seeds and you have rockwool, which is a spun volcanic rock. It's an inert material, and the seed goes right in to that rockwool, and then you just pop it right into your tower, and it will the plant will take off.
Oh.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing how how it works. Yeah, it doesn't.
That's easy. I could even do that.
It is easy. It's, you know, it really is gardening. I say to people, it's 80% gardening and 20% hydroponics. You know, you're still gardening, but the things that people really can't stand about gardening is the weeding and the tilling, and you know, is the soil too sandy? Is it too wet? Is, you know, are my plants going to drown? Am I going to water them enough? You know, all of those issues have been taken away because the plants are sitting in this perfect environment that it loves.
Well, this environment may be perfect for the plants, but what does it do for the people around it? Does it get very humid or?
No, you can grow. No, you can grow indoors or outdoors. If you're growing indoors, you just need lights, and we have a little fan, that we put on our tower garden just to mimic, how plants move outside. But if it's outside, you don't need lights. You just need a sunny area that gets 6 to 8 hours of sunlight, and you need an outlet because there's a pump in the reservoir, and that's pretty much it. You're good to go. And the only other thing you feed it is the mineral salt plant food, and test the pH when you fill it with water. So it's really, I love it. It's easy gardening because I'm a chef. I am not a gardener, and I can even do this.
Yeah. And you like your own product too.
And I do.
Yeah.
And I like to eat it.
Yeah. So. You got the greenhouse. Do you have to heat that thing in the wintertime?
We don't heat it as we did the first year, and we realized that it was expensive to heat it in those cold winter months.
Yeah.
So we grow pretty much through November, and then shut it down for 3 months, and then start it up again in March.
So from November to March, you depend on your inside tower?
Exactly, if you don't have it heated. But this year, it's been a very mild winter, so we've actually kept our tower gardens going. They're going now, and it's January, and they're still thriving. So it just depends on how cold it gets. If it's really, really cold, the plants won't do well. But, when you have certain lettuces and kale and chard, your cold weather vegetables, they do really well. Even in 40 degrees, they'll do really well.
So with your greenhouse, can you sustain 40 degrees without any heating?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it does. It does. And because, it gets really warm in the sun during the day.
Yeah.
And then it gets cool at night. So it's sort of an experiment this year to see how far we can push, the temperature can be down before the plants really suffer. But they've done so far this year. It's been a mild winter, so they've done well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a couple of cans there.
I do.
What are they?
So this is the efficient way, and to get in your nutrition, I say this is the efficient way, and this is the fun way to grow. But we're supposed to be getting 9 to 13 servings of fresh raw fruits and vegetables into our diet every day. And that is pretty much impossible for most people. They either, don't like them, they don't have the time to shop and chop them all, and you really can't source a lot of variety of fruits and vegetables. We tend to go down our, with our cart in the grocery store, and we tend to put the same 15 or 20 things in that we like.
Yeah.
But our bodies really want this wide spectrum of nutrients. So what this Juice Plus, these capsules and chewables for kids is a way, this is food grown on our farms, plant food, and sustainably sourced. And we grow on our farms all over the country, and it's put into a capsule.
Okay.
It's basically concentrated food in a capsule. So I think of this as my salad bar.
So it's like a vitamin supplement almost.
Exactly. It's a complement. I call it a complement to my diet.
Okay.
It carries a food label, and that's exactly what it is. It's just food. It's fruits, vegetables, berries, and then we have this really awesome plant omega, because we don't make our own omegas, so it's a full spectrum omega, and it's
omega?
plant-based. Omega is that, when most people take a fish oil, the omega.
It's that kind of omega.
So it's good for your eyes, your heart, your skin. It's great for your immune health, and I love this one because we don't kill the fish in the ocean, which is most fish oils come from fish. This actually comes from the algae that the fish eat.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just, I love it. It's just I say it bridges the gap, between what we should be eating and what we're able to source every day.
Have you ever tried to juice up your greenhouse with adding carbon dioxide?
No, I haven't.
That's one of the things that intrigues me. Every so often, I'll see one of these demonstrations of this is with regular air, and this is with a little bit of carbon dioxide. This is a little bit more, and this whole idea that CO2 is plant food, and it really starts to show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the things I'd like to understand a little bit more.
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah. So maybe it's another toy to play with when you something from warm winter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway, well, thank you very much for joining us this evening and bringing all your goodies and toys with you.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
I love to talk about this.
Yeah. So it's, again, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue these discussions with the members of the local WOAMTEC. There's a lot of different things they're doing, and it's something you want to look into. And again, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.